now we have our edge that we want to cut, Scott. I'm going to put a little tension on this so as to give me a little bit of an impression on the corner. And we may have to touch up just a bit. Please go behind. Show the action. Nice and sharp. You can come on this side. Okay, so we're gonna just This is a glue the wool product. Obviously, you wouldn't be gluing flocked wallpaper. And it doesn't require a ton of glue either. It's lightweight stuff. So now we're gonna just cut that and see how our splice works. If you should get glue on flocked wallpaper, first of all, do not panic. Do not rub this wallpaper. You'll void the flock. I highly recommend these sponges. Look, this is all you do. Secondly, let me show you something peculiar about flock. What do you think about that connection? 100%? We're perfectly straight here, perfectly straight here. Why is it that we're not perfect here? Do not worry. This is the nature of flocked wallpaper. This stuff has very little give. You're not going to stretch that into position. It's just the nature of flock. That's all. Make sure that it connects in the most important areas nearest the eye if you're running off by 1/16 of an inch. Okay? Don't try to stretch this. You'll tear it. It's begun.
Are they getting that music in the background?
Do not rub this up and down on this flock. Push firmly, that's it. Firmly. Short spurts. Cut hard, short spurts. This flock will dullin your blade. top piece. It's in. Now, where do we splice it? New blade. Right. Oopsies. She's looking good. Ow. Ouch. Okay, Scott. What we're going to do is mimic this. Here's our. We need. Okay. What I like here is to follow this line, okay? So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna follow this line. That's what I'm gonna do, baby. Yes. Okay, one more check. Wish me luck. Can you see?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hurts. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, very nice, Scotty. Okay, baby. Alrighty. Alright, now. Okay. The answer is, can you splice flocked wallpaper? Yes. Can you bring it in? Can you splice flocked wallpaper? Yes. Can you bring it in? The answer is, can you splice flocked wallpaper? Yes. Can you bring it in? Great garbage bag at Big Lots. Stays up, throw your wallpaper scraps in it. Good to go. Okay, so let's talk about what is flock. Flocked wallpaper is a highly sophisticated fine wall covering. What you may not see in the video is that this material has 3 layers in it. One is the backing. The second is a metallic shell. The third is a fabric. This material used to be around long ago when I was a little boy. Everybody had flocked wallpaper in Brooklyn, New York. I kid you not. Now, the dark material you see in the wallpaper is a very low pile fabric. It's like little hair that you might find on a boy's G.I. Joe doll. That's what it's like. It feels fuzzy and it feels like velour. Consequently, look at the way I'm handling it. Number 1, your hands must be extremely clean when you manipulate it, when you're pushing it into position, like right now. If they're sticky, you'll take the flock off. They must be clean and they must be dry when you're manipulating it. Flocked wallpaper is a material that requires paste to the wall. Let me repeat. Flocked material is a material that requires pasting to the wall. You don't want glue on the front of this, and so we keep it off of the paper altogether. It's lightweight, and so therefore you put it on the wall, and here's a little trick for you. You let the glue tack up. You don't want to put flocked wallpaper on glue that has been newly applied to the wall. Why is that? As you move the flocked wallpaper around, you tend to scoop up the glue like a snowplow scoops up snow. And so I don't want you to do that. I want you to use a roller when you get it on to flatten it out so that you don't over manipulate it. You roll it on, and that presses any air pockets out of the material. And it helps dissipate the glue underneath the flock uniformly throughout. I'm going to have to do a voiceover on this frame because the customer had copyrighted music playing in the background. Okay, with clean hands that do not have adhesive on them, if you find that your seams need to be pushed over toward each other, this is not conventional wall covering, and therefore the technique to do so
is not the same. Take your fingers only and put your fingers and pressure with your fingers toward the seam on the non-flocked part of your wall covering. What I'm making contact with is the metallic shell, the second part of this material after the backing. And so I'm not going to void metallic or the color. It's very good material. But if I put that kind of a pressure on the fuzzy flock, I will void the flock. Secondly, how do you get the flock dust off of the metallic shell? You take a clean cloth. Believe it or not, that's a clean cloth. It has a lot of flock dust on it. And you simply put a finger into the cloth and you press on the metallic part of the flocked wall covering only. You will have patience. You will get all of the dust off of your material and just push it toward the flock.
Torque is the pressure and tension on your wallpaper. And it's manifested chiefly in matching over here, but not over here. I'm going to tell you the way to get rid of it. Don't ever forget this. Here's what you do. This is torque. It's torque. Now, if you flatten this out, you might put a crease in it. Water underneath the wallpaper dissipates torque. I can give you a reason as to why I think why. First of all, it makes the paper easier to move. So much so that you can dissipate this buckle this way, this way, this way, and that way. If you think you're going to flatten this out, you're thinking the wrong way. Think about sharing this buckle in different directions. And all of a sudden, you relieve torque. But you can't move it unless you let it. Don't panic when you get torque. Now, watch how easier it moves. Remember, we're talking about a lick stamp. You put it on an envelope, it's done. But if you put some more water on, you can move the stamp, right? Same thing with wallpaper. Now, we want a little traction on our hands. You need traction. Not too much with flock. You'll pull off the flock. Now, two hands. 11 o'clock and 2 o'clock. Can they see this wallpaper moving? Try to zoom in. I want them to see this. Watch this. See the seam? Maybe you can get on the plank and you can go to my left. Can you do that? It's all right, you can keep it going. See the torque? See that? Watch this. I'm pushing this way. I'm pushing this way. Now, granted, it's not a lot of torque I'm showing you. We just dealt with a ton of torque off video. And it can drive you nuts. Okay, now. Notice how I'm holding this piece in place as I just go over the seam. Now I can let go. If you don't hold it in place, the seam is just going to keep moving back. Let's see if we can get some more torque. I hope not, but for the sake of the viewers, they'd like to see it. Okay, here's an issue. Let's show them where we're mismatching. Let's bring them in. Scott, I want them to see this because this will drive a paper hanger crazy, and I want them to see. Okay, look at all the torque. We got a ton of it. show them the mismatch? Do they see this mismatch? Now check this out. We're off here. We're dead on here. This is the nature of flock. You want to minimize this issue? Now, let me write it. Okay, so our viewers should see that this is off.
Big buckle.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go upward as we've been doing.
Oh, okay.
So we're dealing with a misalignment in flock. Not an uncommon issue when you're dealing with this heavy-duty material. If you know what oak tag is, flocked wallpaper is a little thinner than oak tag. Okay, so there was some background noise I needed to voice over. And so look at the buckle on my right. I'm starting from the beginning and working upward because the misalignment of this flock wallpaper is manifesting itself at eye level, a complete disaster for a wallpaper hanger. Now, misalignment in flock is a natural consequence of the stiffness of this material. You gotta work it out. So we're gonna work from the bottom upward. Wouldn't you rather have misalignment in your flock way above the head of your customer and you? Of course. And so if you have to have a misalignment, you certainly don't want it at 8 feet or below. So let's see how to eliminate this and make it look perfect.
Can they see? Okay. I'm pushing out my torque over here. You see this torque here? Okay, I'm feeding it upward. Smoother? Thank you.
If you have torque, you want to not panic. If you have to take the sheet off, take it off. And if you've begun from the top and you had an excess amount of torque, take it off the wall and start again from the bottom. You'd be amazed at the wonders that it does to getting rid of your torque. Second suggestion, use water. Push the torque out, up, down, to the side, diagonally, left, right, bottom left, bottom right. I'm telling you, you're gonna get torque, but you're gonna get rid of it because you watched this video. Let me know how you do on your flock installation.
Take a break here. Isn't that amazing?
Nice.
Now, this is a prime example why we started this frame of the video. We're meeting up here, but look what's going on. It's torque. So, here's what we're gonna do. We're going to keep our match here. We're not gonna mess with this, come on. We worked so hard to get it. Now watch what I'm doing. What am I doing to this torque? Look at the angle at which I'm pushing it out. Keep that in place. Just keep going like this. I'm pushing it at a vertical angle outward. Now, if you notice, take a look at the top. We started the video and our top was what? Does everybody remember? Our top was cut. It was up against the ceiling. And what did getting the torque out of the way do? It displaced volume necessarily. And so we moved that wallpaper up 1/2 inch. See that? See that little extra we have at the ceiling? But guess what we got rid of? Take a look. All your torque is gone. Folks, torque is one of the most difficult problems in hanging wallpaper. And you have to know how to get torque out of the way. And all veterans deal with it. And it's one of the first things we learn because it's one of the biggest problems with hanging paper. In fact, I would bet that the new do-it-yourselfers, their first problem is torque and then they give up. Another trick to deal with torque is hang the sheet, leave a 1/8 of an inch gap between this paper and that.
Leaving a 1/8 inch gap between two sheets eliminates torque because you roll the sheet out, the sheet absorbs the glue, and then instead of being torqued on the right edge, you can simply move your torque toward the seam and it eliminates at least half of it.
So your torque will come out if you keep pushing the paper in opposing directions, okay? If you're pushing it this way, push the next angle down this way, opposite. If you're pushing it this way, go this way. That's how you get rid of torque. And then you're gonna wind up with a gap between this sheet and this sheet. And that's what I'm doing now, I'm just moving it over. Go ahead, show them the sheet, how well we did with this. Okay, we got rid of that torque. Somebody should be asking, well, what causes it? Okay, I'm going to tell you what causes it as he's showing you the sheet. When you have a long piece of wallpaper, folks, torque is manifest.
When you hang any sheet of wallpaper, torque becomes an issue, especially with stiff material, grass cloth, for example. In more flexible materials such as vinyl and vinyl composites, you're able to stretch the wallpaper, believe it or not, into position and eliminate torque altogether, even though you still get it. With this material, torque is of a higher propensity than other materials because flock material is significantly thicker and more tense than every other wall covering around, including grass cloth. Now, the higher or longer the sheet of wallpaper, the more you have to deal with torque, because a long sheet of wallpaper overcomes many obstacles in the wall, such as a bump that you can't see, or a higher proportion of texture in one area of the wall? Well, the longer the wall, the more volume of wallpaper it consumes at a disproportionate amount of consumption, thereby giving you an unevenness about your wallpaper. This is torque. It causes torque. It's tension on the paper. More wall is filling your wallpaper at the top left than it is at your bottom left or your middle right. And this causes a buckle. That's all it is. And the way to get rid of it is to follow the simple suggestions that I mentioned in this video. Believe it or not, this is one of the greatest challenges you as a new wallpaper installer or a do-it-yourselfer will face when hanging your wallpaper. And it is the first thing that makes the do-it-yourselfer quit the job and call someone who hangs it professionally. But don't give up. I make this video for you so that you know how to deal with it and how to identify it.
Now we get to the end sheet, and we come across this painted corner. How are we going to protect this painted corner from getting scratched? This is not easy to match paint, so I'm going to have my helper do something that I think will help us. The helper is going to hold a 10-inch, or this is a 12-inch taping knife, 12-inch, and I am going to use the blade on the other side, using this as a guard to protect the wall. So let's see how it works. I'm having him help me because I can't see through this wallpaper, even if I should cut it down thinner. But if I cut it down too much, believe it or not, the cut is not going to look good.